In the province of Alberta lies Canada's most popular national park, Banff. It covers over 1.5 million acres. It's Canada's oldest national park, having been established in 1885 after 3 railway workers found a natural hot spring on the Rocky Mountains 2 years earlier. After seeing the scenery around the area where the Bow and Spray rivers meet, American-born railroad executive William Cornelius Van Horn began to think of ways to capitalize on the beauty of the place and remarked that, quote, "If we cannot export the scenery, we will have to import the tourists." Van Horn commissioned Bruce Price to build a hotel in the Scottish baronial style. It's close to Bow Falls and the resort community of Banff. Known as the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, the building sits at an altitude of 1,414 metres. Construction began in 1887 and cost a total of $250,000. The wooden hotel opened on the 1st of June 1888. It cost less than $4 a night to rent one of the 100 rooms, which were centred on a 5-storey octagonal rotunda. To witness Van Horn's reaction to the finished hotel would have been something. Van Horn had wanted the building to face the mountains, but the builder had probably been looking at the blueprint the wrong way round. The hotel had its back to the stunning scenery. When tourists from all over the world began to visit the area, the hotel began renovations, keeping the original structure of the building in mind. By 1902, over 200 rooms had been added. 4 years later, changes began to take place with the intention being to replace the original structure. An 11-storey central tower flanked by 2 wings was designed by Walter Painter, the chief architect for the Canadian Pacific Railway. The Painter Tower, as it is known, cost $2 million and had 300 guest rooms. It was finished by 1914. In case you're wondering, the tower was oriented towards the mountains. A fire broke out in 1926 and destroyed what was left of the wooden hotel. The 2 wings didn't open until 1928, as World War I had put a halt to this phase of the building work. World War II forced the hotel to close in 1942, and it reopened in 1945. But the war had left the hotel struggling to achieve the success it once had. While some thought it best to demolish the hotel, it was decided that the hotel would close during the winter. Since 1968, however, the hotel has been opened all year round. When the 1988 Winter Olympic Games were held in Calgary, the staff annex was refurbished to create 245 extra rooms. By now the hotel had been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site and was eventually named as a National Historic Site by the Canadian government in the 1990s. The present-day hotel has roughly 1,200 employees, a 27-hole golf course, 12 seasonal restaurants, 768 rooms, and a few ghosts. If you stay at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, be prepared for a sleepless night if you stay in room 692. According to employees, it's hard to keep this room booked, as guests experience pillows being pulled out from under their heads and being pushed out of bed. Maybe you'll bump into a headless man who has somehow learned how to play the bagpipes. Perhaps you'll check into a guest room that was never supposed to exist. This room was created by accident during the original construction of the hotel. Odd noises are heard, shadows are seen, and a presence has been experienced in this room. Imagine being so well known as a ghost that you end up being featured in Canada Post's Haunted Canada stamp series and on a coin. This was the case for the bride who haunts the hotel. The story of the bride starts with her death, which happened in 1926 or the early 1930s. Shortly before her wedding banquet began, she started ascending a curved stone or marble staircase, wanting to reach her husband who was waiting for her at the top. Tragically, she fell to her death, either by tripping on her dress or when she panicked after her gown caught fire on one of the open torches that adorned the staircase at the time. A year after she passed away, workmen heard music and saw her dancing in the Rob Roy dining room late one night. She has also been seen dancing in the Cascade Ballroom. As you might imagine, the bride also haunts the staircase she fell down. Although a former employee once said that the management instructs staff not to speak about the bride, the accounts of people hearing the sounds of laughter, crying and screaming when the staircase is empty are well known. Sam Mccauley, also known as Sam the Bellman, was a long-time employee of the hotel who left this earth in 1975. He was very fond of the hotel and his attempts at retirement always failed. Sam would often tell people that he would haunt the hotel, and it seems that he's kept his word. Sam is often seen on the 9th floor and in his former office, which is now a guest room on the mezzanine floor. Security staff have experienced the random opening and closing of the elevator doors during the darkest hours, and this is something they hold Sam responsible for. Sam likes to perform wake-up calls, and some guests have reported being helped by an elderly Scottish bellman wearing old-fashioned clothes, only to be told that no one matching that description is employed at the hotel. On one particular occasion, 2 elderly women were having trouble getting their room key to work and decided to call the front desk for help. The bellman on duty was in the middle of a job and wasn't able to respond to the request for help for 15 minutes. When he finally arrived at the women's room, the door had been unlocked and the women remarked at how a man in a plaid jacket had helped them access their room. It seems that Sam is having a wonderful time helping people from the other side of the veil. It's a room on the 8th floor that contains one of the hotel's darkest hauntings. The story goes that a man killed his wife and daughter before taking his own life in room 873. Both mother and daughter have been witnessed in this room. Guests reported waking up to the sound of screaming, and cleaners would find bloody fingerprints on the bathroom mirror that couldn't be washed off. Whether this haunting is still being played out today is unclear, as the management made the decision to close off the room. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel is a place where you might encounter a variety of ghosts. It appears that as long as there are guests and staff around to experience the strange happenings, the hauntings will continue. If you ever visit this hotel and you find yourself in the bar, try not to get too drunk, or a spectral bartender might tell you to go to bed. Happy nightmares.